Hey, JD from FluxFocus. I'm going to do a sort of quick and silly video here. This here is a parallel port driver board for a whatever mini CNC, micro CNC, micro stepping controller deal, and it's having some problems, and we suspect this. I think this was a 74. I don't know if it's LS or AC or whatever it is. Alright, I'll have a look. It is just HC 244. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove it, but I don't really have any good tools. What I've got is my crappy soldering iron, which is kind of like 10 years old or older, and it's got I don't think I've ever changed the tip in it, so it's mega crusty, the tip. You'd think I'd have better tools, but you know, I work with it. I don't really have any problems with it, and I've got old solder as well. But all I was going to try to do here was just show you my poor man's. Everyone does this. Well, not everyone. Every fool does this, maybe I should say. I don't have a hot air removal tool here either. And I could do this with a heat gun, but I haven't got one of them either. Some of these tools I do have at work, but I'm not at work at the moment. And so the other funny thing I don't know if I'll do it in this video or not, but I was trying to get some replacement 244s, but all the ones that I could get were SOIC 16 wide. Actually, this isn't 16, is it? What is it? Where is it? Yeah, it's SOIC20. But in any case, it's this chip that's on here is the skinny version, and locally all I could find were the wide version, unfortunately. So DigiKey, I mean, you know, there's sort of, you know, the usual suspects that you go looking for if you can't find it at your local sources. So I believe DigiKey do stock the Narrow version, which is what's on this board, but I'm in Australia, and DigiKey shipping, you know, the cheapest option's like $30-something for you know, that's where it starts at for a minimum shipment. So if I was going to order some stuff from DigiKey, you know, trying to make best use of that, how much I'm paying in shipping, I don't know, what's a good ratio then that you wouldn't, you know, I'd probably 4 to 1, you know, would probably be maybe even less than that. 3 to 1, you know, it kind of hurts. Ordering, you know, 3 times as much in value as the shipping cost. Now, I would have expected, you can kind of see what I'm doing here. You know, everyone does this. You flood the pins. You try to keep it hot. That's why I'm putting a lot of solder on here. I'm trying to see if I can keep the heat in that blob of solder enough for it to start moving. I wonder if there's, I don't know why they do that, but I wonder if there's cement under there holding the chip onto the board. But more likely, I mean, it only really takes 1 or 2 pins to, alright, and you can see it started moving. It only takes 1 or 2 pins to remain cold for it to, alright, there we go, it all got warm enough to come off. And yeah, so if you obviously I'm bridging some points there and stuff, but eventually You probably couldn't see that because I moved it around too much and its bloody camera's gone out of autofocus. But it is, spun it around, that's now off the board. And so for the rest of that, I'm just going to clean that up with a bit of solder wick. Be back in a bit. Alright, so the sun's gone away a bit here, so the light's getting pretty bad. But that's the SOIC that I took off, and so you can see that comparatively, obviously, the SOIC Wide is wider than the SOIC Narrow, and this one, these are both the same chip, but if the autofocus stops screwing around, yeah, this one here, obviously I haven't done anything with the pins there, they're as per normal. This one I'll just flip that over. You can kind of see there that I've wrapped the pins around itself into a kind of J pin arrangement, and I'll try to solder that into the place on the board where the SOIC was. So this is a bit sort of hackery work, and this is just kind of an experiment really at the moment to figure out whether this was actually what was causing all the problems. And you know, if we kind of prove that, I'll probably end up taking the chip off and putting a narrow, proper narrow one on. Unless this works really well, and we'll probably just leave it there. Alright, this is going to be a bit tricky, so I might just come back to it when I'm in the middle of it, and then at the end maybe. I was just going to make a note about this solder wick that I was using to clean the excess solder off the board. This stuff's pretty rubbish. Pretty sure this came from JCar Electronics in Australia, so this is probably only pertinent to Australian viewers. Yeah, so it's a bit rubbish. Even if you said maybe it was oxidized, even if you pulled a shiny bit out, and cut the oxidized bit off, it's still a bit rubbish. Something like Goodwick, I was hoping I'd have some here on the desk, but I don't, is quite good. And there's another no-name brand that are on sort of blue rolls, and they're quite good. Not as good as Goodwick, but good enough. And they come in different widths and sizes and thicknesses and different braids. But this stuff here, yeah, it's pretty bad. Alright, the focus there isn't great, but you can kind of see I've got one side done there, and there you can see the other side. So, you know, they're great big globs of solder, but they do manage to get on the pads. Alright, that's all I was going to do for this video. It was really, all I was doing was just to show you how I remove SOIC without any other funky tools, but I thought, well, while I'm at it, I might show you how I'm putting on this wide IC on a skinny, narrow footprint. Yeah. Alright, so that's it. I might do another video if I get all this CNC stuff actually working properly. Cheers.